Many of the people come from villages where there's nothing. They have absolutely nothing, and they have to travel in for it. So to see medical doctors and nurses and dentists was something brand new for them. We saw a lot of people that were involved in domestic violence. It's a very significant problem in this country, both beating their kids and spousal abuse and those types of things, where the people had a lot of emotional hurts and pains and actually had wounds, old wounds from being beat and being speared by their spouses and things like that they came into. And obviously in those situations there's physical problems, but there's a lot of emotional problems, stress, anxiety, fear, worry, depression that goes along with that. It's a place where we're showing love and compassion, hugging people, loving people, caring about them, treating them like people. That is really speaking the love of God. And if you look at the Bible, there was a very similar pattern in Jesus' ministry. Everybody that Jesus healed eventually died. Some of them may have gotten sick again, and they all eventually died. But the presentation of the love of God and the compassion of God opened their hearts for ministry.
The last day we were there, a couple brought in their little girl who had fallen out of a tree the night before, and they lived quite a distance away. And the little girl had been up all night throwing up and sick, and they knew something was terribly wrong, and they had heard that the doctors were there, so they put her in a canoe. I think they said they traveled about 3 hours, and they were there when our clinic opened. And so Mitch examined the little girl, and he knew that she had internal injuries. And, you know, in your mind, you think, well, she needs something more than we can give her. And, you know, we need to refer her on to a hospital or someplace else. But in reality, that's not an option. They don't have the money to go anywhere else. And they've never been outside of this small area. And so you do what you can in the natural, and then you pray. But as we sat there and listened to this mom and dad talk to us and the desperation that was on their face, it was a very human picture of just a mom and a dad who love their child. Sorry. Who are looking for some help. And they have the same hopes and desires for their child that we do. We want our children to grow up and be successful and have a family. And they saw that there could be an interruption in that plan, and they didn't know what to do. And they were looking to us for help.
Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea, is covered in areas like this. This is called a settlement. And this is where thousands of families will come and find their own place, basically, to live, making do with what they have, making their homes out of whatever they can find. This particular settlement is the very first one that was ever formed here. And here there are over 3,000 people who have made their home on top of a trash dump. Now, in these settlements, there's no running water, there's no sanitation, there's no type of care for medical needs. And so we're trying to do anything we can to help here. Our medical teams have come in, they've set up temporary medical facilities, and they are seeing literally hundreds of patients a day.
When they come here, it's very hard now. They don't have a place to live. So the government already allocated a place. So little place. It's only about 20 by 20 meters. Like this, you know, this small place here. In one house, you'll find about a dozen, or even more. 24 families living there. In one area. Like you see.
So you'll see multiple families in one very small area.
One small area.
So therefore, does the role of the church become very important?
It is very important. It's only the church that go in. You see, never used to be anybody like you coming here. Now the churches are moving to. So the churches that the people are using the churches, you know, to find a way of living here to survive here.
Are they warmly accepted? Are the people here open to the church coming in?
Yeah, now they are very open.
Very open.
Now open.
Good. Every person that comes to our clinic is getting a personal prayer with our pastor. We've got a few people here in our ministry area that are all ministering to the people. So every single person that comes here is getting to sit down with our pastor, tell him or her their story, get prayed for if they've got needs. And so we've seen a lot of salvations. But the people here, especially because in this area,
this squatter camp particularly, they call themselves the forgotten people of Papua New Guinea, and they were at one time known as the worst tribe in the entire nation. And so police were afraid to come here. Nobody wanted to come here. And a couple years back, one of the pastors locally decided to come in and wanted to make a difference. So he got a bunch of steaks together, came in and fed the people steak dinners, and just started forming a relationship with people. And so through that, they said that they've seen this entire settlement completely changed by the gospel of Jesus. So it's been really great.
May you place godly influences, Father.
You know, Mom just had a vision years ago to really she just thought about people, you know, hurting and not being able to get, you know, care for that. And so we just basically started looking around, how can we start helping people? And so we started with hospitals, and, you know, we just go, you know, 5-6 times a year to different countries and just try to help as many people as we can, try to go to the poorest, most unreached places that we can find, places that really do not have access to medical care, and just help people.
This is our wounds clinic, and so we've been treating a lot of patients. We've probably seen some of the worst wounds here in this settlement that we have, definitely in all of Papua New Guinea and almost all of our outreaches. Most of the people in this area don't have any shoes, and so all it takes is a small little cut on their foot. They get dirt and bacteria in that wound, and then the wound just continues to get worse. It turns into a big infection, and sometimes people, when they don't have any sort of medical help, it will never recover, and it only gets worse. And some people, we've seen toes that are missing, and you just start to see that infection start to spread up their leg. And so here at our wound clinic, we're cleaning feet, we're washing feet, we're cleansing out dirty, nasty wounds, and we're also teaching people how to keep their own wounds clean, because a lot of people have never had that education.
Hey, this is Nancy, and we want to tell you her story. We're here in Papua New Guinea, and it's a sad story that we hope is going to end in victory. Nancy is 2 years old, but when she was about 3 months old, something fell on her head, and the injury basically stunted all of her development and her growth from that point forward. And so she hasn't really been able to develop like a normal child since that time. But because of our medical clinics here, she's come back the last 2 days, and they've been able to get her the medicines that she needs. They've been able to teach the family how to work with Nancy on physical therapy and how to teach her and train her, so that there's a very, very good chance that with these medicines and with, you know, the physical therapy, that she'll walk someday and that she'll be able to overcome this injury.
Nancy's parents have brought her 2 days in a row because they love her so much and they want her to get the help she needs. On their behalf, as a parent, we just thank you that we can come and help beautiful children like Nancy. Hi, sweetie. You're a beautiful girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
My husband and I have a 30-year-old son who was in a similar circumstance, uncontrolled seizures and lots of physical disability, and he can walk. And it was only through people teaching us the same things I'm teaching this family that he learned to walk. And even though he's still severely disabled and unable to speak and still wears diapers, he can walk. And that's a huge help to a family not to have to physically move their family member around. So I think that this little girl is going to make big strides, and I truly believe that she will walk. She may be 6 or 7 years old when she learns, but this family is motivated in caring for her, and I believe that she's going to make strides, and that they won't be carrying her in a few more years.